Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. I am your host, Shane. Happy Wednesday, and thank you for tuning in. So, while we're getting everything and everyone on the screen, I'm going to do my disclaimer for this week. So, yeah, I know that we do have a cleaning service, and cleaning service is from here, from NYC to Lakeland, Florida, Tampa, and Orlando, Florida. If you're looking for some great rates on this season or this upcoming season and you need some assistance with your cleaning, whether it's residential or commercial, you can call us at 347-838-1411. We have excellent rates. You can email us at emeraldempire at 330 at gmail.com. And this is our cleaning service. Um, yeah, so if you're looking for any one to assist you, whether it's a party setting, whether it's a cookout or whatever type of setting it is, and you're looking for any assistance on or help with having your house, your residential space, or your business clean, please call us. We do travel NYC, the five boroughs. We do not do upstate Westchester, but we do local, and we do Tampa, Orlando, Lakeland, and those areas. I think that's North Florida. We do those areas. So this week has been a tough week. It has been a long week, and we're only on Wednesday. So tonight's guest, I think she's grown on us. I think she's grown on us. I thank you for those that have been asking, sending out emails, um, just enjoying the show. Those that have chimed on last week, we received great feedback on last week. So I'm sorry, y'all. That's an echo. Okay. So nevertheless, we have evangelist. Uh, what else are the other titles you work at? Counselor. I'm sorry, I hear the phone. I'm going to let her herself. Y'all know her as Miss G. A lot of y'all know her as Miss G. Uh, Gene Simmons, Gene Winfield, George, Gene Jones. I know her as Mommy. Um, she has many hats and many titles. So tonight we are continuing our third episode of Recovery Studies. We thank you for those that have been following us from day one. The turnout and the support has been completely awesome. We thank you for those that have been just giving us good feedbacks in the chat, dialoguing with us as we're getting through these episodes of Recovery Studies. Can you guys see me? Let me see, because I do have like a delay. Can you see me clearly?
Yeah, you see, I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay, you can see me. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the floor and let her introduce herself. Again, tonight's this is Recovery Study. This is our third episode. If you happen to miss the live, you can go ahead to my YouTube channel, Emerald Empire Productions, and the first two episodes are up there, as well as other interviews that I've had with other people that have come onto my channel. Okay, so if you missed this, the live will be posted on my Facebook as well as my YouTube channel. So I'm going to open up the floor and let her introduce herself and give her a little background on who she is, and then we're going to go ahead and start on tonight's show.
God bless everyone. First, I want to give an honor to God for waking me up this morning. I thank Him for just giving me health and strength throughout this day, throughout this week. Thanking Him for traveling mercies. I thank Him for my family from the north all the way down to the south, as I say in my video, so I don't miss no one. So I'm just grateful that all of us is in the land of the living, and that's through God's grace and mercy that we are here. Um, God is just an amazing And he's worthy to be praised. That's the only thing I can say right now on that. Because when we get into the topic, I talk about other stuff. Hi, my name is Jean. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Grateful recovering addict. For those who don't know, I have 32 years clean. I am a retired substance abuse counselor. Been in the field for 22 and a half years. I worked in different modalities from the state penitentiary, outpatients, therapeutic communities, which they usually call TCs. I work with children, juvenile delinquents. Um, I just worked with a lot of stuff. That's the profession. Retirement. Now I have Gene Hands of Healing LLC, which is a handcrafted herbal tea blends and handcrafted food seasoning. I'm getting ready to complete my third season at the farmers market. I will be coming back in September. No, I just completed my second season. I'll be beginning my third season in September. God is truly awesome in that area. Um, I've started a crocheting class, which is just teaching women and young children how to crochet, teaching a hobby, which is something that I do in my recovery process. But I've been doing it before my recovery process. Um, and yeah, we'll be launching that. I've been launching registrations, so still doing registrations. I start classes this Saturday. I was honored to be blessed with a space that was basically donated to me to utilize to have this arts and craft activity to take place in a coffee shop downtown Lakeland, down here in Florida. So God is just good. He's just blessing me in areas that I did not see coming. So I'm just being still, and I moved out the driver's seat and letting him take the wheel.
Mhm.
Because when I get into it, I mess it up. So that's who Gene is, and that's where I'm at today.
Awesome sauce. And congratulations again on your space. Crocheting space. And those of y'all that do know, that's local that do know she does crochet. And she is just expanding in her business and all of her wonderful endeavors. So let's get into tonight's topic. So recovery studies. We're going to give you a little feedback or go backwards of some of the topics and some of the discussion that we have done. And again, if you missed the live, you can go ahead to my YouTube channel. You can go ahead and subscribe, please. I don't know, everybody views it, but people don't subscribe. You want to support to build the brand and the channel. Okay, so we spoke about recovery studies. We're speaking about different addictions that people might have. We have touched on how it affects the generations, past, present, and future. We also expound a little bit on some of the different drugs that are used today. What are some of the triggers that do take place that will cause people to go ahead and go into these different addictions?
Active addiction. That's
Active addictions, whether it's alcohol, whether it's gamble, whether it's sexual, whether it's drug. There are many addictions, but tonight we spoke in the past episodes. We spoke directly on
substance use.
substance abuse. Okay, so we're gonna pick up where we left off. We spoke about the triggers and how mental health can sometimes play a factor in substance abuse. Also, want you to go ahead and touch on that a little bit with mental health. So you're going to revamp that. Thank you for tuning in. How mental health, with all that we have going on today in society, whether it's housing, whether it's finances, whether it's marriage, whether it's relationship, at this time, how do you see mental health, and how do you see the coping skills, and what are some of the coping skills that people are using to cope with day-to-day activities currently right now?
All right. For what I can say, I can't speak on nobody else's process, but I can speak on my process. And as my disclaimer, I came from a 12-step program, but this is not to piggyback on a 12-step program. All that I share and I speak on is all for my personal experience. I just want to be clear on that because I don't want to get cut off and go to Facebook. No.
Yeah, we try to. We've never been in here, but you know,
Yeah, we've been doing
like a
good.
little bit.
We've been doing real good. So I don't want nobody to think that I'm um trying to get personal gain from my foundation. My foundation is my foundation. I'm gonna call it self-help groups, and that's what I attended, and this is what I was taught through my career on how we had to change our vocabulary when we describe this, even in our writing, because there's a lot of controversies out there. I'm just gonna keep it like that. So when you talk about triggers and you talk about the different types of triggers, marriage, homelessness, mental health, um, there are a lot of triggers. I can just put you like that. There are a lot of triggers, and everybody's trigger is not the same. That's why I say I'm gonna share on me. I still don't even know what my triggers is, but I know that I do have, if you want to call it personality disorder. I used to have a personality disorder. That's back in the day. Loneliness is a trigger. Um, how I cope with it, I utilized the tools that was given to me, which was self-help groups. I did a program briefly, but it was just for a hot minute. I think I just did it because the person that was running the program, I guess I was a number game for him. And I don't know if you remember, I used to take y'all, and I used to go to that where they had the pool table that night, to take y'all down there when we lived in Brooklyn. We used to walk straight down. So that was social activities that I participated in. I was able to bring y'all when you was little, if you could remember, over there on Linden Boulevard. Anyway, the tools that I was taught with coping skills was to talk about how you feel, to get a support network. I did that. And I just basically, in the sponsorship, I had a good sponsor, God rest her soul.
Now, what is a sponsor for those out there in internet land that do not understand or understand what exactly a sponsor is?
A sponsor is a person that has some experience, clean time, that can help guide you do your daily routine of your recovery process. I'm trying to say it without saying it. So sponsorship was one of the things that is really the backbone of what kept me clean. Was a person that I went to and I talked about all the ugliness about myself. I gave all the ugliness that I was ashamed to give to anyone else. That person was there for me. And as well, I am a sponsor, and I get the ugliness from, and I have received the ugliness. And I'm talking outside of me being a counselor. I'm talking about the personal aspect of it. Um, where they talk to me about whatever they go through. We have some guidelines that in the self-help groups that we will follow as far as sponsorship is concerned. They say get a network, get a positive network to learn how to participate in other, healthy activities, because addiction is part of boredom. When people just bored and they don't have no other, and their mind is not expanded to do other things, they go back to what they know to do best. They know what to do best, which is go back and use whatever that is they choose to go use to deal with the boredom and to cope with whatever society might be having on their shoulders for that moment. Um, for me, I learned to talk about how I felt. Prayer, prayer,
Yeah,
prayer
yeah,
was
yeah.
the main thing. We talked about this in the first episode about the spirituality versus religion.
Mm-hmm.
I came up through learning about a God, a power greater than myself, and I think, and I'm grateful that I already knew who my God was. I already knew who my Savior is. But when I was in my self-help group, they taught me how to practice spiritualities, because a lot religion was one of the things that a lot of people ran from because of the bylaws of the church. And I'm just not talking about one particular church. I'm talking about a lot of church, many church organizations. They have their bylaws where you have to practice what they practice, right?
Yeah, there
So
rules.
coming into recovery, and putting the drugs down and going into an organization like that can be a conflict for a person that don't have the wisdom to know the difference. So the fellowship was based on spirituality, and I thank God for that. And it helped you get a relationship with a power greater than yourself, a God of your own understanding. Um, and for me, it helped me get to the point where I was able to go back into religion because I grew up in the church.
Mhm.
And then I went through my little process. And but when I got clean, I don't think I went back to church until about 4 or 5 years later. You know, when I was clean, I went back to the church. Because they had gave me some tools, some healthy tools to be able to sustain myself and start identifying who I was and start practicing acceptance and knowing that where my help was coming from was greater than me. Um, so that's one of the controversies that a lot of people's when they first, and I'm gonna say for my profession, a lot of people's when you talked about church, they didn't want to hear that because they came. So a lot of people's came from some punishing gods. That's how they was raised. So when you mention the word God, they don't even want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. That didn't help them. That didn't
I
help them
like
in
that that y'all use the term your higher power because God looks is one supreme being, but there are many paths to him. So you do what I like about recovery. It's there's no judgment. You do have the bylaws and the rules that you do have to go by to keep the formation and the building, um, and just the steps keep everyone in order. But you have to have these rules set in place because if not, there will be actually no structure, and you would not be able to form or to help or to assist anyone to in their recovery process. Now you spoke
yes.
about the religious part or the spiritual part in recovery. How has that journey been for you? What does it look like through your eyes?
Well, for me, it's been an amazing journey because I know where my help comes from
Mhm.
now versus not really understanding where my help came from. And there's a difference when you in a process and not really understand it, and then now I'm in a process where I understand and I truly understand where my help comes from. Um, I keep I keep that up front, basically. I keep that up front. I don't want to get religious and holier than thou. They said take it to the altar and leave it there. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? These are the tools that I was taught to take it to the altar and leave it there. Do all of my adversities that I went through in my recovery for these 32 years. It has not been a bed of roses. I've dealt with some difficult times where, if it had not been for the Lord on my side, I don't know where I would be. I'm not trying to preach, but at the end of the day, far as with my recovery, like I said, this is my personal information. This is not about somebody else. This is my personal experience on my journey and my recovery journey. And I got, and I not had, I do have a great support system. I've always had a great support system from the time I made a decision to surrender, which was 32 years ago when I put my hand up and I said, my name is Gina and I'm an addict. You
Mhm.
know, I've had the support that I needed to have to guide me. And they said, as long as I follow this way, I have nothing to fear. And they said, as long as I follow the guidelines, I would never have to use again. And I followed those guidelines, and those guidelines has guided me to where I'm at right now. Um, I'm not going to disclose none of the drama that I've been through, but I've been through a lot. Like I said, I've been through a lot. And what kept me is the material that I have. The tools is one of the basic tech. I thank our friend for introducing what I already knew about the recovery Bible, but I have a recovery Bible that I read versus my King James version Bible and my in what is it? In
NIV.
NIV. Okay, I was going to say NTV. Anyway, my NIV. So I have a lot of literature that I read, and I'm gonna call her name. I'm gonna thank Zentra for I don't know if
Well,
somebody.
they're on, and Tanika
Oh,
said
okay.
call.
She opened up that book of another side of materials to read. Prayer, meditation, and the tools is reading literature. to help you and get more information on how to maintain yourself when you're going through the diversities and the adversities that we go through in this process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
So now we were speaking behind the scenes, and you said you wanted to expound a little bit more on. I just lost my train of thought.
the effects of what
The side of well, the effects and the side, the good effects and the side effects of active addiction.
but there ain't no good. There's no good effects of active
Well,
addiction.
I mean, you don't want to make it seem like
There's no good.
I'm trying to make it sound nice.
There's no good effects of active
Maybe
addiction.
I don't
Active
know.
addiction is not. You don't know the language, so I'm trying to get you into the language.
Uh-huh.
But active addictions is when you out there and you just constantly using and you don't you just using and whatever that is for you to do. Your life is very unmanageable. You think you got control over it. And you just wilding out. Your life is just crashing down, and then the more the life crashes down, the more depressed you become, and the more you sink into using to cope with the damage that you have created. That is active addiction. This is my definition of active addiction. Now, when you come into the recovery process, like I said, um, I have tools, prayer, tools, support. You got programs to go to. Sometimes even when people be mandated to programs and they get on probation and on parole, they guide them to those type of paths or going to the self-help groups and all the resources, housing, education. I went to school. I got my GED when I got clean. I put some investment in myself financially while I was able to get all of my certification that I got to be in the field. I invested in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're talking about the bad things that happen from active addiction, the long-term effects of active addiction. Being in recovery now, one of the things that I say this to anybody that's going through what they go do, go get your physical.
Mm.
Go get your physical. We don't know the damage that we have caused. And
Mm-hmm.
I look at where I'm at right now physically, and just today getting another phone call today because I ignored the messages that was coming through about my hip. I finally got a diagnosis on my hip. So since I've been going to the doctor for like the last 2 weeks, I can honestly say more is being revealed of the damage that I caused in my body. And I thank God right now that I'm retired now. And I went through this. It's the same pain. It's not old pain, but it's the same pain. But I had to push through the pain because I needed to go to work and I needed to make a living to support my family. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have time to be in pain. Didn't have to. Don't have time to be in pain. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now I still don't have time to be in pain, to be honest with you. But in the same note, I'm grateful that I'm able to get the information that I need to get for myself. So I'm saying for the person that that they used to say it when we first got clean too, go get that physical. You don't know the damage that the drugs have caused, and you don't know the damage that you might have caused yourself,
Mm-hmm.
coming from STDs. And now when I say STDs, I'm saying that HIV is included, hepatitis, whichever alphabet you want to name. You exposing yourself to all of these germs because of the things that you're practicing in the places that you're going in.
Yeah,
So
they have free health screenings for these things, and a lot of these urgent cares, these little clinics, they do it. But people, I feel like, don't want to. The health be is the last thing. Their health, not as
it's
far as
simple. Reason
physical
why
health.
that's this is there's a fear. And
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say there was a fear for me when I first got clean, because of the lifestyle that we was living. And I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
the lifestyle that I was living. There was a fear to go get that physical because you didn't know what you was going to be, what you might have exposed yourself to. I showed up to all doctor's appointments because at the end of the day, I realized that I had children and I need to get myself, whatever was wrong with me, I need to get myself together so that I could be healthy enough to take care of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I disclosed this in the first video or the second video. I had lost my parental rights, and
Yeah.
coming into recovery, the state took my parental rights from you and your brother. And when I got clean, when the fog lifted up and I surrendered, that was one of my primary focus of when I got clean to do what I need to do. So getting the physical was one of the aspects that I need to take care of to find out was there any damage. I realized today my damage is all the damage is nerve damage. I'm not going to say the word because I know I'm going to mess it up. So I'm going to say I have a lot of nerve damage. And that's because for me out there walking the streets,
Mm-hmm.
I remember coming into recovery looking at a pair of sneakers that I was wearing due active addiction and tried to put my feet in there and then it was like, how was you walking in these shoes?
Mm-hmm.
um Not realizing the damage that I caused to my feet, caused to my nerves, and then I inherit the diabetes because it runs in my family. So already having the nerves sitting in dormant, they come out and go back and come out, come in. I would feel some pain for a little while, and then the pain would just disappear because I would push myself to keep going. And as a result, now that I'm in recovery, another thing is the doctor's appointments. I would miss a lot of doctor's appointments to go to work and reschedule and make them late. And it was like a rush job because employment was a primary focus for me later on in my recovery process. So, like I said, right now, I realize the damage that I have done to myself from my hands down to my feet, to my hip, to my back. I had back surgery again back in May. And all of this is from my active addictions. Even though it's 32 years later,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still suffering from the effects of my active addiction and I'm in recovery,
I see it a lot in the nursing homes and the rehab. A lot of, I don't want to say older, but the older people who had that lifestyle prior, the early, I would say teens, early 20s. The damage is severe. Now, between getting a leg amputated, maybe the arm, like you just stated, diabetes, just ailments that you don't even realize you have. They don't really quite know what's wrong with them. Just it's just a long term effect because this is a your body, your limbs do get messed up when you are continuously taking drugs or substance or bringing things to your body that's going to cause harm to you. Now, can you explain to internet land after you have gotten yourself clean, that reality or the illusion or that door to recovery, what does it look like? I know on the other side. Because remember, when you're active, your mind state is not there. You're just not there. You're there, but you're not there. Okay. So once you get clean, you decide to put the drugs and the substance down and you want to go ahead and live quote unquote a straight and narrow path. What exactly does that look like?
It looks like a mystery.
Mm.
Blind faith is a mystery because you make a decision that enough is enough is enough is enough. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. However, you know where you came from, the damage has caused, but you don't know where you're going to and if there's going to be damage or what hope that you might have moving forward. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a day at a time process, but like it was a mystery for me. I didn't know when I put it down that I was in bullpen therapy. Bullpen therapy. If
It's
you
the
don't know what that
terminology
means,
for me.
bullpen therapy is when you get locked up and you waiting to see the judge.
Uh-huh.
That's what bullpen therapy. And I learned that when I started working at the prison, and I shared my spirit, strength, and hope to the inmates. And one of the inmates said, "Miss G, you went through bullpen therapy," and I was like, "That's what y'all call bullpen therapy." I was in bullpen therapy for 3 days, and
Mm.
in those 3 days, that's when I got my spiritual awakening. In that 3 days, I realized that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired from going back, sitting there all night looking at the insanity and realizing that I don't belong there, realizing that this is not the life that I want for me. These are all the thoughts as I'm looking at the insanity because nobody is understanding the consequences of where we're at. We're locked up, and there's a possibility that we might be going to jail. But everybody was hip, slick, and cool, and it was like cool breeze for them. Oh, and people had drugs while we was still in there, while we were entertained. They was getting high while we was in there, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, I had some stuff on me too. I had snuck it. I had my little stash on me, whatever the case may be. But it's when that last night came, and that CO, she found all of the stuff in the coat because I had it hidden all in the lining of the coat and everything. And she came and she showed it to me, and I can honestly tell you, when she showed me that, something just lifted off of me.
Mm.
And she said, I can charge you for all of that. And the best defense I can say, well, I've been detained for 3 days and I didn't know that was in my coat. And that's not my coat. I borrowed it from somebody. So it was a cross between her believing me or or turning that stuff in. And she went and threw it in a garbage can. And when I went in that cell, I cried all night. I cried all night. And I can honestly tell you that next morning, I can see how God opened up the doors for me. He opened it up for me when I got there. I had been there already. They said I might be there for a week. And next you know, I had this little man calling me. He couldn't pronounce my name. I didn't understand a word he was saying because I was still in the fog of still in the euphoria of the drugs in my body and did not using. So I was going through it. And I remember when they called me, I remember getting in the courtroom and all I could hear was case dismissed.
Mm.
And that point, I really surrendered. And the women that I had left in downtown Brooklyn, and I had to catch the train and go to all the way to the end of Brooklyn when we lived in East New York. Got off at the not Euclid, I can't think of the station name. Anyway, it was the stop before they started going to Queens on the A train. They were standing outside. That's how the devil works because I kept saying I wasn't going to use. And I remember walking all the way back to where I was living at with them. I heard them talking, but I didn't hear what they were saying because I was focused on just going home because I didn't want to get high no more. And I remember when I had to make that decision where if I was going to go to the right and walk with them and go get some or go to the left and go home. And I went home, and that's when it came to me that it was a choice. I had a choice, and I chose not to get high. And I've been running on that choice for 32 years. So it was a mystery because I didn't know how long, if I was going to stop or was I going to go back. But I just know I didn't want to live that lifestyle anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For any means necessary. They say you chase your recovery like you chase your drugs. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did. I chased my recovery. Even to the point where it was times that I couldn't come see y'all because I needed to go do what I need to do for my recovery. This is before I gained custody for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to do that to order to get myself stabled. Especially in early recovery, I had to get that foundation that I needed in
Mm-hmm.
order to help me. But like I said, it was a mystery because I didn't know that day one, that moment one, that thought, that split decision when I said I didn't want to do it no more, where was it going to take me? And it has taken me through, I've been on a roller coaster. Like I said, it has not been a bed of roses all through this process, but it has been a bed of roses.
What can you advise to those that decided to walk through that door and wanted to go to put this down and said, you know what, regardless of what's behind that door of the unknown, I'm going to continue to walk. So, people start off strong. I believe in recovery. I think you do relapse at least once or twice, maybe more.
I have never relapsed. That's not.
Okay, so that's good. But how do you advise or how do you not approach, but how do you deal with people who have relapsed over and over? Whatever. I just know from my viewings and my knowings, people have to have had either a trigger or a life event that might have been too much. Okay, and I've seen people with a significant amount of clean time. I'm talking about clean time, no drug, no substance, no gambling, no none of that. And they turn around and maybe the loss of a spouse or a child, a house fire, loss of a job, and they just snap and they relapse. How do you advise those that have done that? Because you have to start all over.
Yeah, you have to start all over, but don't get me wrong, your experience still stands. Your clean time changed, but your experience still stays there. It doesn't go anywhere. However, I can't speak on relapse because I've never relapsed, and I thank God. My husband has never relapsed. We just been walking good, bad, or indifference, going straight. But the ones that we have experienced with relapse, everybody's story is different. Everybody level of tolerance is different. Everybody coping skills are different. Some are stronger than others. Then you got the stubbornness. You got people that's very stubborn. They just choose to want to continue to do it their way in spite of what life is showing them that you're gonna have to change something. And is an individual choice. I I can tell you, I can honestly say, out of all the things that I've been through, I have never thought of using
Yeah.
as an escape. Don't get me wrong, I want to murder people.
All right. Wait a minute. We're on the internet land. Allegedly.
There's times I wanted to do some, I wanted to do, I wanted to commit homicide. And I can honestly say there was times I wanted to commit suicide because I couldn't do the homicide. So I wanted to try to, it was like that was just a mental battle with myself just to be still, embrace the storm as it
Mhm.
came. Not everybody is as strong as I am, but there are people that are strong just like I am because there's people with more clean time than I have.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people in my life that never use. You don't have to ever use again, but it's the choices that you make and it's the level of your tolerance. He who fails to remember is doomed to repeat. That is one of the first slogans I learned when I first came in, and it stood out for me because if I forget where I came from, I will repeat that
Mhm.
same cycle. And I had enough of repeats through my active addiction to know I don't want to repeat that in my recovery process. Um, so again, utilizing the tools. There's a lot of programs that's out there. You can do your program. You can go in as an outpatient. As outpatient, you can go in as a reentry just to get just the support mechanism that you need. The resources is there. Talking to someone. Um, um, Getting honest. How about
Mhm.
honest? Because they say you sick as your secrets. That's
Mhm.
one of the slogans as well. You're sick as your secrets. I get honest about everything that I'm going through because again, I always share with everybody and I stand by that today. I don't know what my triggers are. So I know what I need to do so they don't manifest themselves in my life. So I reveal what I need to reveal. And what I know that need not to reveal, I take it to prayer. Real
Mhm.
simple. You got to be honest. I mean, you got to be honest about who you are, good, bad, or indifferent. No matter how ugly that picture look, you got to be really honest about that. Um, my life is an open book. Whether people like it or not, I'm an open book because at the end of the day, I'm with Gene. No matter who comes in my life, who goes out of my life, I still got to be with Gene. So Jean got to be honest about what's going on around her and what's going on within her in order to keep and maintain herself to continue to walk this path that I'm walking. It's not an easy path. I'm not gonna tell nobody that it is. It's like I said, it's not a bed of roses, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that a person, an individual could get a hobby. I love plants. I flood myself with different activities to keep myself maintained with the quiet time because there's a lot of quiet time for the individual, any individual, even if you're not in recovery. We all have that idle quiet time, and with that time they say idle time the devil's worship. So you got to keep your mind motivated and stimulated on doing positive things even if your body is telling you no. I push through my pain all the time. I
Mhm.
went outside today just finding out about my hip, and my hip gave out on me yesterday because I put my hair in recovery. I came out of retirement and I did my hair, and not realizing me doing my hair was going to agitate all the nerve. because the nerve damage that I had. So I couldn't really walk. And I stood out there today and watered those plants. And it turned around and rained. It always do. I keep myself occupied. People might say, Gene, you're corny. I don't care about being corny because I was trying to be hip, slip, and cool. I was still isolated by myself, damaging myself. So if you want to call me corny, call my lifestyle corny, I enjoy my lifestyle. You know, God has blessed me. I never thought beyond my wildest dream I'd be living in Florida. I thought I was going to be in New York for the rest of my life. I don't know how long I'll be in Florida now. I just know I'm living in Florida. You
Mhm.
know, and these are the blessings and the rewards that we gain and obtain from ourselves once we make that decision to walk down this journey. You know, you said, what is it like? Like I said, it's a mystery. Like I
Mhm.
share on my videos, it's like a box of chocolate. You don't know what's going to get when you open it up. I don't know what's going to happen each time I go to bed at night and open up my eyes. But I just thank God that I'm able to be in the land of the living to experience whatever it is that stands before me, you know, as I continue this journey, you know. So I want to share, don't be scared of the mystery.
Mm.
Cause see, when we was using, we wasn't scared of the mystery. Going in abandoned buildings, purchasing stuff to stimulate our minds and our body to come out to get this feeling. That was a mystery. We didn't know if we took that hit or that puff or that needle. I ain't never took needles, but I'm just using these as an example. Or drink, if we was gonna ever come back off of that high. People's lose their mind. People's lose their life when they're using drugs. You put yourself in such a dangerous situation, but you like it. But then you put the drugs down and all of a sudden you get scared. Really?
Mhm.
Really? You scared. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not gonna do that. But when you was out there, you thought you were Superman. You conquered everything. You went to places to do the things that you did.
Mm.
Okay, and you was courageous in doing it, bold when you was doing it. Then you put the drugs down and now you don't have a voice. This is when you're supposed to have a voice. Like I said, they said chase your recovery like you chase your drugs. So I chased my recovery like I chased my drugs. I know when I was out there, I did a lot of things when I was out there. So why, when I get clean, I should stop myself right now? Why should I be stagnated in my own head because of fear and the lack of knowledge? See, we gotta get the knowledge that we need to get. And how do you do that? Through prayer and meditation to get the knowledge to keep motivating yourself to keep moving forward. So that mystery, that word, I guess that's the word for the day. The mysteries of recovery. Um, you can never know what's that going to be for an individual because I still don't know what it's like for me.
Mm.
I got 32 years clean, but still a mystery of what lies ahead for me. But I
Mm.
know I'm determined to keep going.
Mhm.
I have no desire. The last thing I want to talk about before we get off is being careful with medication
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm in that little cycle right now on contemplating on which medication I need to take. And of course, you know, the best medication they said I can take, all of those are controlled substance.
Mm.
So I have to protect my recovery in any form, and I refuse to take the controlled substance. So as a result, that's why I drink the tea. So I'm back on the tea again. Thank God He gave me the talent to be able to make my tea, and I'm just as drowsy as I want to be as because got the tea and it's very strong. I really hurt myself when I did my hair, but it's okay. Um, be careful with the medication that you take. Um, be the doctors is they will hear you. All of my doctors know I'm in recovery. I come to the door letting them know when they give me my diagnosis, whatever pain I'm experiencing. Do not give me. You remember I went through up there and I cursed, not cursed, but I told the doctors off when they drugged me up with the locked in and all of that stuff, and
Yeah.
they give me that. And because I was in pain again and I was walking, I was falling, and they couldn't find the source of it. Here it is years later, they just diagnosed that same pain. Um, but they just filled me up with drugs. So be careful when you go to the doctor. Be honest with the doctors about who you are and what you're going through. Because I've known a lot of people that have relapsed due using medication, and they already have the personality disorder of a substance use. And when they start using it, and boom, next you know, they back into active addiction with a new drug of choice. So we have to be real careful on your medication.
Yep.
Me, I refuse to take any of the if they can't give it to me with a non-narcotic, I'm not taking it. That's just for me. I again, because my triggers are a mystery.
Mm,
So I'm not trying to solve the mysteries on what my trigger is when it comes down to a medication.
mm.
Medication. So I rather just continue to be abstinent. But don't get me wrong, I take my diabetic medication. I'm very cordial what I'm doing, but just be careful with the medication. When you go to the dentist, I remember when I went to the dentist for the first time in recovery, they gave me Vicodin.
Yep.
I remember that. Oh,
Yep.
they
I mean,
told me
that's
I
the
was
first thing they put. They don't push. Most doctors do not push holistic living. They will, it took me a while to realize that being in the medical field, when you have the people that come to the office with the suitcases and they're promoting whatever is in the suitcase. I don't know why two and two wasn't put together, but they promote all these other drugs besides a holistic. You don't even know
and they
where,
tell us we're not FDA approved.
not FDA, and then
We're not
it's
FDA
like
approved.
they're selling Tupperware almost because they go from clinic to urgent care to, and they're like, hey, we have this new whatever, and then the doctor says, okay, well, I'll buy that. Well, I didn't realize they would conduct the business in that matter. So now that I know, it's like you don't want all these foreign things in your body, and this also plays a major part at the end of your recovery or during your recovery or in your stages where you start developing different issues with your body. It also can be the medication as well because it's side effects. If you have to take diabetic or high blood pressure, and then you might have something for anxiety, you take everything at 8 a.m. in the morning. One side effect might be a twitch. The other one might be you're super hungry. The other one might not mix well with your brain. You understand? I'm giving examples, and people don't realize the mix and mingling. All these drugs, mix and mingling will give you a bad outcome. Okay, so we're not doctors or physicians.
No,
Let's
we're
put
not.
a disclaimer. Go ahead and take your medication if that's working. We do stress holistic lifestyle. We are into herbal plants and tinctures and homemade apple cider. We do that on
Oh,
this
you
side of
spoke
the
on
road.
that the other
Okay,
day.
so we do
Yes.
stress holistic as well as dieting. Now we try to exercise as much as we can. But we do stress that, and we try to live our very best. But while you're taking these medications, please pay attention to the side effects, and if your body can take it or not. Give yourself. They said, what is it? 2 weeks. If you can give yourself 2 weeks, and it's supposed to be a month. If you have been on something past 5 years, get yourself reevaluated to see
Well,
if
they
you.
just took me to it. As a matter of fact, because of the nerve damage, my doctor 2 weeks ago just took me off of one of my diabetic
Yeah,
medicine
because
because
you
I've been on it for a
become.
lot of years. And she said that might be playing a part of
Oh,
some of the
yes,
numbers that I'm experiencing. It might be
yes.
triggering it even more. So you're hitting that on you're
You
hitting that on the
becoming
head when you
me.
said that.
Hmm.
But this is the diabetic medicine. For me, they even got the medical marijuana that I told myself if that's the last result, I'm still not going to do it. For me,
My
I'm
personal
not talking
choice.
about nobody else. For
Yeah, my
me,
personal choice is not to come for anybody in the chat. Do what you do, but we
do
just say
what you do.
real
That's
road
just for
discussion.
me.
Yeah. So
That's just for me. I protect my recovery, like I shared when we started this cast. Um, I'm sharing my experience. These are my point of views. These are my personal experiences, and that's my disclaimer. So I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or what you choose to do for yourself, knowing what your process, your life process have been. If you have been battling with addiction, that's not my call. I am open about my addiction. I'm not ashamed about it because being ashamed about it is like being ashamed of who Gene is. And that's who Gene is. I'm not going around broadcasting it to everybody. I'm sharing it to hopefully help somebody else because this is what was taught to me to help somebody else in this life area. just this life area, because I've helped people in a lot of different other life areas as being as my in my profession for all the years. I've helped people in a lot of different um entities when it came down to their recovery. But this is my personal.
Mhm.
This is my personal experience. These are my personal opinions on what works for me. So hopefully someone can have some identification, and hopefully this will help somebody grow in their process
Mhm.
as well. You know, if you hear it for somebody else, because I know if it hadn't have been for me sitting around listening to other people share their experience, script, and hope, I wouldn't have had an idea of what I was going through. So it was through somebody else's experience that I was able to identify what I needed to identify myself to enhance my recovery process.
Mhm. Mhm. So this is let me put you down because we'll give my disclaimer in the chat. Again, we are not physicians, we're not doctors, but we are here to share experience, strength, and hope, encouragement to those that are sick and suffering, those that are looking for a way out, or those just that want to just listen to see what we got going on for tonight's podcast. We thank you for coming on.
How about that?
Nevertheless,
I just want to just sneak in and see what's
see
really
what's going
going
on.
on.
Okay, we love
You
those
know, and
as
I'm
well.
okay with that too, you know, because being an evangelist, it doesn't mean just for one in one specific area.
Category, yes,
It's not one category. Evangelism is for it's universal. It's
yes.
universal.
So we.
And if I can preach the gospel, I need to be able to preach the gospel through me as well.
Mhm.
Um, I have a story to sell to tell, and I have experience to help the next person. You know, so you know, because you know you got the. I'm just gonna
I'm
do it
not
like
worried. I'm a
that.
little bit past that equipment, but we thank you.
You know, we got those type in there. So just sharing. This is just my experience, and you know, we got to meet the people where we at, where they at.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we thank you for joining on. If you have any questions in the chat, go ahead and put it in the chat. If we did not get back to you or we did not hit on something, please go ahead and email us at emeraldempire330 at gmail.com. We thank you for the open dialogue and the questions from the prior episodes. Again, if you just so happen to miss our wonderful faces and you wanted to catch us on live, and you want to go ahead and speak with us afterwards, I think your cousin said for you to call her afterwards.
Oh,
You can do so at 347-838-1411. And we have some upcoming wonderful things that's taking place in the fall. We have Jean's Hands of Healing, and she has her crocheting
that's
classes.
this Saturday. That's
That's
this
this
Saturday.
Saturday, Lake Living, Florida. She has her crocheting class. Yeah, I know she crochets. Most of y'all receive blankets, uh something for your
Hats.
cats. She did the mask. Some of y'all have the stuff, some of y'all know her patterns, some of y'all know her hands. It's those of y'all that don't know
I make cancer blankets,
her
cancer
hands.
hats.
We do those things. So we thank you for, you can call us and um subscribe to
I
the
can
channel,
support us. You can support us. You can help me support my class. You can
support the
help me.
classes, and we can post the upcoming classes
Send me
on
my Cash App. I can use donations for the class.
this one. I told it too much. Go ahead and hit up the Cash App.
Hit up the Cash App.
And we take gifts on this side of the railroad track, and we just thank y'all all for the
I told
support.
you I'm drinking this tea.
And tea, y'all know she sells teas and herbs, and we're getting prepared for the fall. We have some wonderful things that's upcoming. We start back our classes. Don't ask the dates. Those of y'all are looking and saying, when is chaplain going to start? The dates is going to set out very soon. We have the
We're looking for
gala.
increase. We're looking for increase.
We have the
We're looking
Winter
for increase
Wonderland.
for the classes. Yes.
In December that will be in Lakeland, Florida. I am trying to see if I can get something together for November. If I cannot, we will be
It'll
looking
be in December.
yeah.
December 9th. December 9th.
December the 9th is the Winter Wonderland, Lakeland, Florida. This is the second year. We're looking for those that are able to come and assist and fest and eat with us and be merry. And those that are not able, you can still go ahead and gift and send out and sing your shout outs and your love. And we just have some wonderful things. We're not going to disclose everything, but we have wonderful things coming up this fall. So we're going to continue to do the podcast. We're going to continue to do. We have a lot that we do between NYC and Florida, and so we thank God for the inspection, expansion. Expansion. Tongue
Increase. Keep it simple.
increase. I get the increase. So, nevertheless, this is another episode of Coffee Talk. And tonight's study was recovery studies. We thank you for tuning in, and you have a wonderful evening, everyone.
God bless everyone and thank everybody for being on. I'll shout at everybody when I see the because I wasn't looking. And I just want to thank everybody that showed up tonight. And God bless y'all. And I look forward to y'all again. So if you, like she said, if you have any questions for me, put it in the chat and we will address them on the next podcast.
All right. Thank you.
God bless everyone.
God bless. Hey.